there should be, we should be able to calibrate, which will add a lot. I mean, you know, you're just coming up with guesses at how much impermeable surface do you have over this large area, and what does that mean? So you know, they're just, you're coming up with estimates of the inputs to the model. So BMP program next steps. Obviously, there's a major focus right now on Buffalo Gulch and Metro storm drain. Hydrodynamic devices going in along both. They're upgrading Buffalo Gulch right now as far as the storm sewer system. Still looking at ways to divert some of the water out of at least Buffalo Gulch. But that's still really in the conceptual stage. And then there's retention basins. There is a design for a retention basin on Buffalo Gulch. It is not necessarily what is going to happen, but it's being looked at very seriously right now. There's none being looked at right now on along Metro storm drain.
Where could you do retention on Buffalo Gulch?
I'll show you. Next slide. So here's the one at Buffalo Gulch, and here's Montana. So, you know, here's Safeway again. So it's small area. It's being looked at.
Bob McDonough's property?
Huh?
Is that Bob McDonough's property?
It is Bob McDonough's property. It's, you know, that's another point that trips us up, is private property. So MSD, what could you do? Well, you know, I've always looked at this map and said, you've got a lot of undeveloped area around MSD, and what could we do with that? And it's being explored. It's, you know, I guess my best professional judgment is that something like this is going to be necessary, because I don't know what else is going to take those kinds of spikes of dissolved out. At least if you can stop the water, then you have various management scenarios. You could pump it back to the Berkeley bed. You could run it down to the Butte treatment lagoons. I mean, it all depends on what additional volumes can those treatment systems handle. Yeah?
If those become retention basins, then that serves a good in terms of, that becomes a good thing in terms of getting some of the harmful elements out, but it keeps those areas as sacrifice spaces that nobody will ever use, right?
Well, yeah, I guess they would be a stormwater management area.
Fenced.
Well, no, they don't necessarily have to be fenced. I mean, I would argue that they don't.
Our kids should just, can they ride their bikes through there?
Well, there's a trail through here right now. I don't know why you couldn't, you know, our kids ride our bikes along the Blacktail Trail, and there's ponds next to that.
Who owns most of that
area? Kennelly, Baker Auto, Arco owns a piece down here, they own this piece, and I think this is Butte Silver Bows. So,
would it be an option to pump the Buffalo Gulch back to one of those larger areas?
Yeah, I mean, those are obviously technically feasible. You know, the best way to have a system is that the system sort of manages itself. So first of all, that means gravity flow. You're always looking for a way to use gravity for the most part, and not pumps. So starting with that, I looked at some articles on just, they were called retention ponds, stormwater ponds with a permanent pool, and they showed that they could remove up to like 50% of the dissolved concentration just by holding it there. I mean, there's some treatment you'll get just by exchange of CO2 from the atmosphere. Whether that would work here or not, I don't know, but it's, you know, I would say that's where you start, is see if we get much treatment that way. And like I said, maybe you start routing some of it down to, the Butte treatment lagoon, if it has the capacity. There's a lot of things you can do with the amounts of water flowing different places, and I think that needs to be part of the overall strategy.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
If you were to create retention basins in that space, would it require the removal of
Diggings east?
the diggings in the north side?
Yeah, I mean, that's what would happen.
You dig down.
You dig them out, you make the basins. You got, this area right here is certainly above the invert of that channel. So you gotta get this down, and then you'd have to start with the water up here somewhere and get it out here. So that's always, you know, that's one of the problems with this area. It's a pretty low gradient area. That's what was good about Missoula Gulch. It's a high gradient area. And it's a kind of a narrow area, so you can build a little berm and capture water pretty easily. It's trickier here.
Go ahead. You know, one of the things, Nick Cucci, in one of his discussions with us, had mentioned that he thought there was some elevated copper on Black Hill Creek around where you have an overpass. And, you know, and nobody knows for sure, but it could be linked to this area. Do you have an opinion on that? Do you have any idea where that might be?
As a geologist, I don't have opinions, but no, you know, it's still in the stage of it could be. There is addition of copper into the creek through that reach. I mean, we know that. There's no doubt about it. Whether it's tied to contamination here or not, actually, the drilling program that's going on right now is a great drilling program, and it will move our understanding a long ways ahead of that question, that very question.
Will that help us define whether or not that area will have to be, any of the tailings or the fill or whatever was put into there has to be removed? Will we know that before we finish our plan?
You probably won't necessarily know that before you finish your plan. It takes us a while to get through this stuff, and you know, they've been putting in wells, and they're going to be putting in some more starting next week, and then they have to be sampled, and then Nick's got to finish his study down here on Blacktail Creek. He did the study. He needs to put the data together and write the report, and we will have to get all of this data back, and then all the technical people will work on digesting that and really what we think it means. And it's a fairly large effort, it really is. So, next, I guess, unless there's another question. You know, and this is a pretty familiar site to us, and so, I mean, people say, oh man, we can't have new ponds, but, and I don't know if we can make it look like that, but I would like to think that we're smart enough people that we can make it kind of look like that. I have hopes that we could really make this work out. I just, like I said, my best professional judgment, it's going to take something like that.
So is your concept then to have a permanent pond there year-round, not just a stormwater retention basin?
It works better that way, but the only way to really do that is to have it intercept the water table.
Right.
And there may be problems with that because you have contaminated groundwater. I mean, it's not a simple thing. It's a lot of things that need to be considered.
What else could it look like?
It could look like a big cement. It could look like the clarifiers at MR.
It could look like a grassy basin.
Yeah, it could look like a grassy basin. I mean, maybe you need to line it. I don't know if you can grow cattails in it if you line it. I don't know. So, anyways,
How deep are we to groundwater right there?
it's probably 10 or 15 feet. Think. Does that sound right? Something
Or
like that.
shallower,
Huh?
or more shallow than that.
Well, no, because you're up a ways. I'm trying to think. It's probably 10 or 15 feet. Because it's up from the bottom of the storm drain, and then below that, you have that intersection, and water tables somewhere below that. So, you know, that whole area that Pinelli and Decorato owns, of course, was not only the diggings east, but it was a basically a landfill, I guess, you know, and people just hauled in whatever, I think, to fill that area. It's all filled anyways. So again, I'll remind you, the remedy has to protect human health and the environment, and that's defined by meeting standards in the stream as far as the environment part goes. So this next part, I'm not going to read it, but this is what the rod says about what you guys are looking at. So I'll just give you time to read it. I think that's a